Original Cocaine Cowboy is arrested after 26 years on the run, last of three notorious powerboat racing, mansion-owning Playboy drug smugglers who brought $2 billion of coke into America is arrested in Florida. The last original Cocaine Cowboy drug dealer was arrested while out on a bike ride with his wife following decades on the run after he was unmasked as one of the richest drug dealers in American history. Gustavo Falcon was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Kissimmee, Florida, despite a series of rumors about his whereabouts, including that he had fled to Cuba. Along with his brother Augusto Willie Falcon and accomplice Salvador Sal Malglida, Gustavo formed the original Cocaine Cowboys in the 1980s, notorious Playboy drug dealers who were known for racing powerboats, owning mansions, and flying in private jets. After dropping out of high school to deal drugs, they collectively smuggled at least $2 billion of cocaine into the U.S. and were one of the top 5 drug-dealing networks in U.S. history. Maluda and Willie were eventually convicted and are serving time in federal prison, but Gustavo went on the run. Gustavo was captured by a team of U.S. Marshals from Miami that traveled to the city in central Florida, NBC Miami reported. The 55-year-old, who at one point owned his own powerboat team, was booked at the Orange County Jail at 6:24 p.m. on Wednesday. He is the last of the Cocaine Cowboys, said Barry Golden, a spokesman for the U.S. Marshal's office in Miami told the Miami Herald. During his arrest on Wednesday, federal officials said Gustavo had fake driver's licenses dating back to 1997 that used fake addresses in Miami in his possession. He also had fake licenses for his wife, Amelia, and children, who are now aged in their 30s, authorities said. Golden said the couple went by the name of Luis Rice and Maria Rice. He explained that back in 2013 they caught a break when Gustavo was involved in a car accident, and he used his fake identification with the Miami address. Authorities say Gustavo and his family had been renting a home in the Kissimmee area, as it was under surveillance by the Marshal's office for some time before his arrest Wednesday. Since 1999, Gustavo and his family had been living in the Orlando area, which surprised authorities as it had long been thought he fled the country to Cuba, Mexico, or Colombia. "We figured this all out a month ago," Golden said. "We pulled their driver's licenses and saw it was the same Gustavo Falcon." Gustavo did not resist at all during his arrest and even confessed to his real identity, authorities said. He is set to make his first court appearance on Thursday in federal court. Dating back to the 1980s, the two brothers and Maluda were well-known figures in the local speedboat racing circles, as they could often be spotted racing their powerful and fast boats in South Florida. In 1986, Willie won the offshore challenge off the Florida Keys while Maluda won 3 national championships. Maluda was also a member of the commission that oversaw the American Power Boat Association. "They were like gods in the doper community," Sean Convoy, a then supervisor for the U.S. Marshals Service in Miami, told the Miami New Times in 1992. "All the other smugglers talked about how invincible they were. All you'd hear was, Willie and Sal this and Willie and Sal that. I don't think there was a police agency here that didn't have something going at some time to try and catch them." Authorities had accused the trio, who were high school dropouts and childhood friends, of smuggling 75 tons of cocaine, worth more than $2 billion, into the United States between 1978 and 1991 using their speedboats to haul the drugs to Miami from Colombian drug cartels. At the time, authorities said they laundered their profits through offshore bank accounts and dummy corporations established in the Bahamas, the Netherlands Antilles, and the Republic of Panama. Gustavo, who was nicknamed Tabby, was last seen in South Florida in 1991 shortly before he was indicted. Willie and Maluda were acquitted in 1996 of the charges after it was discovered they bought off witnesses and at least one jury member. In addition, the trial was also complicated when several witnesses were killed by a Colombian hitman. Despite facing decades in prison if they were convicted on the hefty charges they faced, Willie and Maluda were still living an expensive lifestyle that included a Learjet, their powerboat racing team, Vail ski vacations, at least $1 kilo of gold, South Florida waterfront mansions and Las Vegas junkets. Plus, they still continued to smuggle cocaine even while on the run. But in 2003, Willie struck a plea deal with federal prosecutors in Miami on money laundering charges. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison and is scheduled to be released in June. During his sentencing, U.S. District Judge Patricia A. Seitz called him a gentleman and wished him all the best. "Each day is the beginning of the rest of your life," Seitz told Willie. "Your actions also impact far beyond your family, to other families who have suffered addictions. Your conduct over the years feeds that." The judge placed him on 3 years probation when he is released, and he was ordered to perform 200 hours of community service. However, since he was born in Cuba, he could be deported or held indefinitely by immigration officials once he completes sentence. Maluta was retried and convicted in 2002 of conspiracy to obstruct justice. But he was acquitted of orchestrating the murders of 3 cooperating government witnesses, including a lawyer gunned down in his office, and the attempted murder of a 4th. Maluta was sentenced to 205 years in prison, but that was reduced in 2006 to 195 years.